Alright, hey, HadesOmega here, and I'm shooting a computer vlog, alright? I don't do too many of these, alright? But HadesOmega has been building computers for a long, long time. Well, the last time I built a computer was a decade or two ago. I'm not gonna lie, okay? But you'll kind of guess how old I am by figuring out, how old the computers were when I was born, type of thing, alright? So let's go through my computer history, and so the reason I'm making this vlog is for my HadesOmega channel, and I have two YouTube channels. I have the HadesOmega channel and I have HadesOmega Moto channel. All right, I'm probably gonna put this video on the HadesOmega channel. HadesOmega channel is just everything else. Any whatever video I make, it just goes in there. So car stuff, anime stuff, anime figure stuff, stuff. HadesOmega's hobbies, okay, type of channel, all right. And if you guys are wondering where the name HadesOmega came from, is HadesOmega used to play a lot of games back in the days, and that was my username, all right, my handle, and I've just kept it this whole time, all right. Yeah, it's like my email, it's like everything. I have Instagram, it's all HadesOmega, okay, so just kind of stuck. If you guys are wondering what my first name is, it's Merlin. So HadesOmega has a really, unique first name. So I was thinking, why didn't I just make a channel named after my first name, Maybe I will, I'm not sure. But nowadays, it's hard to get a, yeah, so before HadesOmega had the HadesOmega YouTube channel, pretty much right when I had HadesOmega and HadesOmega Moto channel, right? The Moto channel is for my motorcycle and like garage and tools and stuff, all right? That's another hobby I have, but it's kind of split off from the HadesOmega channel to the HadesOmega Moto channel, all right? And then so in those days, there wasn't a to monetize videos, you just needed an account, all right? And then I call it the first coming of the YouTube apocalypse. All right, and that's when they required you to have, I think, 1,000 subscribers. If you had 1,000 subscribers and such many hours of video that people watch, then you could monetize your channel. All right, so I believe HadesOmega channel made that first. All right. And then HadesOmega Moto, I still needed like 1,000 extra subscribers. Not 1,000. Was it 1,000? Man, I can't remember. But HadesOmega Moto and HadesOmega channel have about 4,000 subscribers now. So thanks all you guys that have been watching my videos. I've been doing this YouTube stuff for like almost 2 decades now, right? I was doing, okay, this tells you how old I am, man. I was doing YouTube, all right, before YouTube and Google were a thing, all right? They were separate entities, okay? And then they merged, and it kind of messed everything up, all right? Because I had a separate email that went with my, yeah, I had a Gmail, all right? I had a Google account, and then I had a separate YouTube account, and then they combined the two together, and now I have like, it's all messed up. I have all the usernames and stuff are messed up, so I kind of have like 2 Google accounts, one for YouTube and one for a thing, and yeah, it's really confusing, guys. So that's how long HadesOmega's been doing the YouTube thing, is when YouTube and Google weren't around, all right? So they kind of split off. They merged at some point, all right, and then now it's just kind of messed everything up. But anyway, I'm shooting this video about my computer because I use my computer to do like pretty much everything, all right? My computer hasn't been running for like almost 2 weeks now, and HadesOmega is I'm a desktop type of guy, all right? I don't really like laptops. I do have a couple laptops, all right? I have 3 laptops, all right? I have 3 laptops and this one desktop and my smartphone, all right? So those are all my electrical devices. They're computer devices that I use, all right? I've got this desktop computer. I've got like a laptop for like if I'm not home and I need to do something somewhere. Like I used to be in the Army, so if I needed to do something when I was going to drill, I would use that type of thing. And then I have a travel laptop that I take with me when I go adventure riding on a motorcycle, because it's really small and compact, and I put a big SSD drive on it so I can copy video files on it while I'm on the road. And that's all. That's its only purpose, pretty much. All right. And then I've got a like a old. It's a laptop, but it's like it has a flip top tablet. It's a Windows XP laptop. That tells you how old that laptop is. Okay. and I use that laptop. Currently, I use that laptop for like tuning ECUs on cars and stuff, and tuning my my motorcycles and stuff. So stuff like that. All right. And then so the computer I use the most is my desktop computer. Like pretty much every day I use it. All right. I use it to download anime, to watch anime, because I've got a TV right here and it's hooked up to my computer, and I use it to play games. HadesOmega doesn't really play as many games as I used to tell you the truth. I'm not a big gamer anymore. And then I use it to edit video and go on the internet and, you know, websites and stuff, YouTube, all that stuff. This computer does that, alright? So this is pretty much HadesOmega channel and HadesOmega Moto channel, alright? So like I've spent a lot of time on this computer, and this computer has spent a lot of time editing and encoding videos, okay? So and it's still using Windows 7, but yeah, so I'll get into like this video is about the computer that I use, alright? And it just died last week, pretty much, alright? And so I'm shooting a video about it before I upgrade it, alright, or before I update it, okay? But back in the days, HadesOmega was big into building PCs, alright? Pretty much ever since I was in like middle school or something, alright? Ever since I had a PC. The great thing about PC computers, alright, so there is the PC and the Macintosh, right? The Apple and the PC. You know, okay, so, yeah, you'll find out some interesting things about me when we start at the beginning. But the good thing about PCs is you can customize them, alright? You can build them from the ground up. And that's what HadesOmega used to do. I mean, it's changed a whole lot, alright? The components have changed a whole lot, and I got freaking crazy lights and stuff on them. But you know, I started way before all that stuff. Okay. Yeah, but that's why I chose to go with the PC, because you can customize it. Alright, HadesOmega's into that stuff. I'm into customizing stuff. Like, you see my car, I do all these modifications on the car. Well, the PC, that's the one that you want. The Macintosh is just some kind of cookie cutter PC that, you know, that you expect it to do everything, you know, but it's already made type of thing. And that's one reason I don't like laptops, because you can't really change the components, you can't really upgrade on them all that much. Once your laptop is out of date, you just got to get a new one. So my PC crapped out last week, finally, after like almost 2 decades I've had this computer right now. I've been incrementally upgrading it every year. Every year, like pretty much like around Black Friday or something, I buy some kind of component for the computer. And well, the main thing I've been buying lately is hard drives, alright? Because being a YouTuber, you go through a lot of data, okay? So and I'll go over the specs on the computer, okay? But my computer crapped out last week, alright? And so, like I said, the beauty of having a PC is that if something breaks, you just replace the bad part, alright? You can you know, change the components, you can fix the broken component. Whereas a laptop, if it's no good anymore, you just throw it away. That's the way laptops are, okay? HadesOmega's never been a really big fan of laptops, alright? Like, yeah, you can have a badass laptop, but like in a couple years down the line, it's obsolete and no good anymore. Maybe you might not even turn on one day, and then that's it, you know? I've replaced the fan on my laptop, that's about it. Okay? Or add more RAM to it, right? That type of thing. Okay, but yeah, I've been doing this for a while. So here's my computer background. Alright. My first computer, Apple IIc. Alright, yeah, that's funny, right? I mentioned it earlier. I'm a PC guy now. However, my first computer was an Apple IIc. Okay, and I just, that's, you know, 5.25 inch floppy disk, the black floppy disk. Yeah, and I used it for playing games and stuff, right? There wasn't that much stuff. on it. You know, games like man, I can't. Defender, all right. I had a Defender game. I had like Pac-Man. I had the original Wolfenstein for Apple IIc. I think there's a cool helicopter game called Rescue Rangers, I think, or no, that was a cartoon. I think it was called Rescue Rangers though. There was Choplifter, right? Those kind of games, all right. And then after that, my dad got a Amiga. All right, I think we had an Amiga 500. All right, Commodore Amiga. All right, Commodore's not around anymore, guys. They went out of business a while back, or is what I want to say. But yeah, we had an Amiga 500 first, and that's the portable one. It's like kind of small. I mean, yeah, it's big. It's big, but it's, you know, it's small. It's not like a PC, you know, like a desktop. And then we got Amiga 2000. All right, Amiga 2000. I had like it was like a desktop computer, right? But not a tower. It wasn't a tower, okay? And I really actually like that computer, you know. If I wish Amiga or Commodore had stuck around longer, man. I used it for playing games, word processing, stuff like that. Like I actually did video editing with it and stuff. You could do a lot of stuff with an Amiga. Is what I'm gonna say. And like, yeah, I really like that computer. One of my favorite games on there was Wing Commander. Yeah, they had a Wing Commander for Amiga to the Amigas, and they had a game called Shadow of the Beast, Killing Game Show. Those are those Subnosis games, and yeah, there's a tank game called Firepower. Okay, so yeah, if there's anybody that has used an Amiga, please comment in the comment section below. Anyway, so after that, my dad started getting these PCs from work. He had like a 286 computer. I'm not even going to mention that. But really, my first PC, all right, was a Pentium PC. Okay, that one, when the first Pentium chip came out, all right, you know how they had so there's a 186, 286, 386, 486, right? That's 4 generations. Well, when the 5th generation came out, the Pentium chip, right, P5, right, I think is what they called it. That was my first PC, like, and it was really expensive back in the days. It was like $2,000 for a PC. Now you can build a PC with pretty good specs for way less than that. So let's say, okay, but yeah, those were the days, man. I had the Pentium chip on it, and I would get like. That's when the CD-ROM drive just barely came out, right? The CD-ROMs were getting pretty popular, and then and we still use floppy disks, the 3.5-inch floppy disks, right? I still got one on my computer, by the way. And I would get those AOL disks and then drill holes in them, and then we'd use them for a thing to just floppy disks, right? I still have a couple floppy disks lying around. Like, I don't know if anybody uses them anymore, man. Yeah, so, and I did my best to keep that computer, like, that's when I started modding computers, alright? That's when I started building computers. In those days, you can buy L2 cache memory, right? I would go to Fry's Electronics, alright? We still had Fry's Electronics, like, I think Computer World, Micro Center, those computer superstores were still around. You could still go somewhere and buy computer stuff. Nowadays, you can't do that anymore, man. I think the only computer place that's left is probably like Best Buy or something, and that's not really, they're not like all computers, That's what I want to say. My favorite computer places to go was like Fry's Electronics, pretty much. Fry's Electronics was the last computer superstore to survive, right? I know they still have Micro Centers around, but the Micro Center closed down like where I live long ago, okay? So yeah, I have nowhere to go and buy stuff, all right? I have to order everything on the internet now. Okay, anyway, yeah, so that was my first PC. It was a Pentium 5. I remember I bought L2 cache. They're these little chips, little RAM chips that you would put on the motherboard. Yeah, that's how you would upgrade your L2 cache, right? Well, and then so after that, yeah, my first computer was Pentium 5. I can't remember how many megahertz it was. I think it was like 100 megahertz. Okay, 100 megahertz. All right, that's how fast that computer was. And then I think it had 16 megabytes of RAM. 16. Okay, that was a lot back in the day. 16 megabytes. All right, and after that, 32 became the standard, and 64 megabytes. Yeah, and then now we're all the way up to like 64 gigabytes or something, somewhere around there, right? Some crazy number, right? Anyway, yeah, and then a hard drive. I think the hard drive was like it had like a 1 gigabyte hard drive, all right? 1 gigabyte, guys. So yeah, that's pretty nuts how crazy this. It had a CD-ROM drive, all right? I think it was a 4x CD-ROM. Okay. We didn't have burners at the time, right? That type of thing, right? And then we had my sister wound up getting like a Pentium 2 computer, and I kind of used that and I modded it a little bit. Pentium 2 wasn't a very good chip, man. I remember it would overheat all the time. I think my computer, the Pentium computer, I wound up getting a Pentium Overdrive, all right? And I think that's the one where you like, it's like you put the processor on top of another processor and it makes it faster, and it adds like MMX and stuff to it. Yeah, all this other extra anything you can add to a PC to make it faster, HadesOmega would do it now. I had one of the very first what was it? A graphic accelerator cards. All right, it was a Creative. I think it was made by Creative, I think, and it was one of the first rendition chips or something. We don't use it anymore. Nowadays it's just Nvidia and AMD that are the big chip manufacturers, right? But yeah, they don't use the rendition chip anymore. I think there was like a second generation, and then they just kind of went down the tube. That's all I'll say. All right, and yeah, that's what in those times we had separate sound cards and stuff, and I was using DOS. All right, we would use DOS. We would still use DOS a whole lot. Like I used DOS for when we had like a 286 or something, and then with the Pentium we had Windows 3.1. All right, and then I would still use DOS a whole lot. I still know a lot of the commands. I can do the DOS commands still. And then CD backslash, right? CD backslash gets you to the root drive. Anyway, and then Windows 95 came out. All right, that was that time where we were transitioning from Windows 3.1, I think, to Windows 95. All right, and then Windows 98 came out. And then Windows 2000, right? And then yeah, and then I think it's at some point I had like an AMD chip. All right, AMD chips were getting popular and stuff, and I think and then somehow I wound up getting to this thing. All right, so after that, after all the HadesOmega jump ship from Pentium or Intel to AMD, all right? Because AMD, in my opinion, was like, they're like kind of the dark horse. They're like, imports and domestics. Well, domestics was like Intel. I'm talking about like car stuff, guys. and like the imports were kind of like AMD. Like they were cheap, and you could just put a bunch of mods on it, and you can get it to be as fast as a domestic, blah blah blah. That kind of stuff, right? Yeah, HadesOmega was big into the modding of the cars and stuff, alright? But yeah, I had another computer before this one with the AMD processors. I can't remember what chips there were. It's been so long, man. But eventually I wound up with this computer, alright? And I think, yeah, we went from Windows... I don't think I had Windows 2000. That's a good question. Windows 98 was like the first operating system where you could use the internet. Like, yeah, that was the first one you could use the internet pretty well. That's what I say. I think Windows 95 you could still use the internet. Remember, we had like modems, guys. That's how we went on the internet. We used 28.8 kilobaud or 56K modem. All right, that was how we got on the internet back in the day. That's how old the HadesOmega is. Okay, I still remember the bing bong sounds it would make when you go online, and you would pay like per minute and stuff. Yeah, dude, like, it's not like it is today. Like those of you guys, those of you kids that grew up after that generation, you guys don't know how good you guys got it now. I'm telling you. Now we have freaking broadband, man. The internet is just ridiculously powerful. Okay, I remember downloading programs and we were getting like 10K or 20K download speeds were pretty good back then. I just want to say, okay. Anyway, then I wound up with this computer. All right, I think I had a really big tower and I modified it. I added a big fan to it, so that's HadesOmega's style. I had a really tall tower before, and now the towers are really wide, so you can put really big video cards in them. And this tower was like kind of skinny and tall, and I added a big fan to it to cool it. I would put fans like all over it. Yeah, HadesOmega did I did the overclocking and all that crazy stuff where you have to change the dip switches and stuff to change the clock speeds and the voltages. Yeah, man, like you don't have to do that nowadays. It's all done in the software, right? And in the CMOS, right? Well, when overclocking back in the days was like you move freaking jumpers around, right? The motherboard there had some jumpers you could still flop around. Nowadays, there's none of that stuff, all right? Everything is all on board. Okay, is what I'm gonna say, right? PCs are like so much different than they were before. You don't have to set like IRQ ports and blah blah blah, you know, for your sound card and all that. No, everything like when Windows had like DirectX, like that's when everything got, you know, just plug and play type of thing. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I had a big tower computer before. All right, it was a taller tower than this actually, and I had a water cooling system, one of the very early water cooling systems. I think you would put it in a 5¼ inch bay, and then there's a reservoir and there's a radiator and a fan in it, and then one thing I didn't like about it was it would constantly run out of water, or it would run out of coolant, and you would have to refill it, and you had to buy this special coolant. It was like a pink coolant or something. It would always run out, and then I never understood why that happened until I learned about silicone radiator hoses. Why cars don't have silicone radiator hoses from the factory. You know, they're better, they last longer, they don't get all crackly like the rubber ones. Well, the reason we don't use them is because the coolant evaporates from it. All right, it actually comes out of it. So that's why you have to constantly fill it up. I don't know how the water cooling works nowadays. I stopped water cooling after that last PC, that AMD PC. Okay, yeah, it's just after the water cooling, I never went back to water cooling. All right, so the PCs that HadesOmega now make nowadays, all right, like this one right here, I have big fans on it. All right, I bought a case that has two very big fans. The way HadesOmega wanted to design this computer right here is I wanted big fans so they would spin at slow RPMs, and it would really, you know, did really good airflow into the case. Okay, the problem with small fans that spin really fast is they make a lot of noise. All right, so I put the biggest fans I can get. All right. So anyway, so let's go take a look at this computer. This is the one that I've been using for a long time. I haven't built a computer in a long time. Right, like I said, I've been upgrading this one, and this is what it is now, and it just crapped out last week, so you guys can see where the magic happens. All right, I believe I made a video similar to this when I made my anime figure video collection. I gave you guys a little tour of my computer when it was still running. Well, and now it doesn't run, but you guys can see what I was using before, and then I'm going to make an after video, okay, and I'll show you guys can see what it is after I fix it. Hopefully I can get it fixed. All right, but I will show you some of the stuff that HadesOmega built into this computer, right? And my methods of building. All right, let's check it out.